Would you ever consider getting married again?
Would I ever consider getting married again? Okay, you know what? Even just like a few months ago, I would have said absolutely not. Never again. Why would I ever get married? I think that I'm open to marriage for the right person, especially if that person has never been married before.
I'm Susan Yara, and welcome to My Life Online. We're gonna have a lot of fun and learn a lot together.
All right, so we're back with an Ask Me Anything where I let my Instagram followers send in all of their questions and we pick some of our favorites. And my producer, Anna, will be the voice behind the scenes who reads the questions out to me. Before I get into the questions, I feel like the last time I did one of these Ask Me Anythings, I was fresh off of my divorce and people had a lot more questions about my divorce. What I will say is I haven't really truly read these questions, but when I scanned it on Instagram, it did seem like people were more interested in my dating life now, which is really interesting to me. That's funny. It's funny to me. So maybe we'll be getting into that. All right, hit me with the first question.
Very curious about your experience growing/selling NATURIUM and what your day-to-day looks like now.
Wow, that's a complex question. You're hitting me with a big one. So growing NATURIUM, I mean, one of the best experiences ever because it felt like it was boot camp because we were in lockdown when this all really started. There was a lot of time to focus on just the brand and building it and really building it online, which was a big part of the success of the brand. So it was a lot of boot camp. When I say boot camp, my old business partner, Ben, was an incredible mentor. And from day one, it got serious. It was, here's everything that we need to do. He helped me learn the back end when it comes to operations. And I think that's something that a lot of people are lacking when they start a business, especially a CPG business, meaning consumer packaged goods business. And so I really learned a lot on that side of things because obviously when it comes to marketing and social media and knowing the types of products that my customers would want, I already felt like I had a good idea. But then there's the business side of things, the operations, the forecasting, handling the finances and looking at your revenue and where you need to be, and even going after investors and even knowing, like, I might know what kind of product I might want to make, but then commercializing that concept. So there was a lot of learning in the building and growing of it. And then the acquisition part, in my opinion, was so much fun. People don't realize that if you want your brand to get acquired, it's actually almost like a year-long process. You have to find your investment banker. And I think investment bankers, I never really understood what investment bankers did. In the past, I knew they handled finances and stuff, but I think I thought of them more in like trading and doing all that stuff that has nothing to do with that. Investment bankers are people that are, I like to think of them almost as like talent managers. Like they take your brand on and then they pitch your brand to all these potential businesses or people that might acquire your brand or invest in your brand. And then they help you through that whole process and help you get the best deal that you might possibly get. So you have to choose your investment banker. Then they take a look at your business and they help you clean it up. And NATURIUM didn't need a lot of cleaning up for a baby brand. So it's more like how you're presenting things. They even pointed out stuff like we didn't have a trademark in Spain. And so they were like, you're going to have to get that trademark done before we can even try to pitch you to sell your company. So these were all really interesting things. And then they prep you for your actual meetings. And what's interesting, it's almost like speed dating. They're presenting your brand to people that are potentially going to acquire it. And then you're kind of weeding those people out. Like they're weeding you out and you're weeding those people out. So you can start with like 100, let's say. I don't even know if we started with 100, but they might, it's like simple conversations about the brand to see if there's any interest. So it's almost like putting your house up for sale when it's like the real estate market, right? It's like you kind of like list your home. In our case, we're not listing our home, but our brand is potentially up for sale for the right buyer. So they're pitching that to these potential buyers. Then you have people come in for your open house and then you weed them out. And then the next phase is actually not even the offer stage. It's that they sign NDAs and then they get a little bit more in depth into your brand. And then from there, you really weed out people by them making offers. And these offers don't necessarily need to be the final offer. Again, like real estate, like you're making an offer on a house, but you're probably going to get into negotiations. Then you go into this phase where you get into these really in-depth meetings. And those meetings, I actually moved back to LA for the entire summer for this because we had so many meetings in person with potential buyers. And that to me was amazing because I got to talk about my brand and what made it so special and what we wanted to still do with it, because you can't get your brand acquired without there being this potential of more growth, right? So it was exciting and fun to me. A lot of people might say that it's the most stressful thing ever, but to me, it was so much fun. My day-to-day now hasn't actually changed that much, if I'm being really honest. I don't handle a lot of the operations, and the biggest relief for me now is that I don't have to figure out where to get cash. which is a huge deal for anybody who has a startup business. You have to constantly manage your cash flow. And cash flow is really hard with products because you have to create products to put into your retailer, but you haven't gotten paid for it yet. So you have to find this cash to not just pay for these products to be made and then shipped out and everything, but then you have to still pay your employees and anything that's happening. You have to pay for it, and you sometimes don't have the cash up front. So you're constantly managing this cash flow, which is something I don't have to do anymore, which is such a relief. Now I get to focus on the stuff that I love, the marketing of it, the innovation, which is creating these products and figuring out how we want to market these products and what makes them so special and the ingredients and everything. And then I get to do appearances and work on distribution, meaning like which retailers we go into, which countries we go into, and going and visiting those places. So you probably see, if you follow me on social media, I'm constantly traveling, and that's because of that.
There's a part 2 to that question.
A part 2 to this question, okay?
What's the latest on recent skincare innovations, ingredients, technologies, etc.? Where do you see trends heading?
You know, I think trends come and go. They come back around all the time. And so I really think that we're going to start to see more people talk about glycolic acid and lactic acid and AHAs, because I think for a second there, they got overshadowed by these newer ingredients, not new ingredients, but ingredients that were becoming more popular, like tranexamic acid, when it comes to dark spots and hyperpigmentation. And I think we're starting to realize that we still need the exfoliation too. And it's not just your retinoids either. So I think that we're going to see a big focus again on the AHAs. I still think there's a lot of technology when it comes to encapsulation and stability for your ingredients, especially your antioxidants that can oxidize. And I also think it's really interesting to see peptide technology. We're obviously hearing about exosomes as well, and just anything that can be regenerative. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that in ingredients like stem cells and just any of that kind of stuff that mimics what we see in the cosmetic procedure world. That's what we're going to continue seeing. The way like salmon sperm is so popular right now because it's bioregenerative. Does it do a lot when you just apply it topically? Not as much as it does when you inject it. But we're seeing that kind of transfer, which I think is really interesting.
Are you going to bring back your personal channel? We want a day in the life vlog. How do you run NATURIUM, make podcasts in LA, and live in Miami? Your workout routine, supplements you take, updates on the divorce, etc. Personal channel. Are you going to do it?
Personal channel. You know, I spent a lot of time working on that personal YouTube channel, and it was so much work. It was so much fun though, because I think before TikTok was really popular, that was my way of just getting more personal instead of more, like everything on Mixed Makeup is so produced. So the personal YouTube channel felt like a place where we could talk about all of those things. And I do have a good time with it. I think I do that more so on Instagram and TikTok these days, but I'm not opposed to bringing back that YouTube channel. It's just the commitment and do I have the time for it? And honestly, if I didn't have kids, I would have so much time. You guys would be seeing me pump out so much content. These bitches wouldn't know what was coming for them on social media if I did not have kids, because I would have all the time in the world because I love doing this. I don't know if you guys realize it, but I really at this point don't need to do social media, but I enjoy it so much. I just can't even imagine not being on social media and not having my community and not talking to everybody and just having fun with it. So it crosses my mind. But do I have the time for it? I'm not sure. So it's a maybe.
Are you following any diet? Anything about skincare, nutrition you can share? How your diet influences your skincare?
I am on a diet. I think that it's really important to be transparent about being on diets too, because I think especially when you see content creators who have really nice bodies or they have a look that you like, maybe they're very muscular or fit, and then they show you like that they're eating in and out or something. This used to be a big trend, especially in my like back in my day, the heyday of my social media. Really, the way I always saw it was these girls were like taking a bite on camera of this food, like a donut or something, and then they would toss it. And this is, to this day, the way that social media goes. I promise a lot of these people are not actually eating the food that they show on social media. I'm glad that the trend has kind of stopped though. I don't think we see that too often. I love food. I'm one of those people that like loves to eat. Maybe it's like partially cultural. It's part of like why I travel, and I just really enjoy food. But I did start a fitness challenge at my gym. My personal trainer convinced me to do it. And I have to say that it's been really interesting to see how much the food has affected my body, because before that, I was working out with my personal trainer and I felt like I was in shape and I was feeling good about myself and everything, and I felt strong. But starting this diet, which basically is, we're really watching like my macros and the amount of like starchy carbs that I eat and everything. So it's like I'm eating like 4 to 5 meals a day. I'm really just eating less. I'm eating lots of protein. That's one thing that we really upped was my protein intake. I'm probably getting like 100 to 120 grams of protein a day, or at least I'm trying to. And that includes ways to like supplements that help me, like a protein shake in the morning, protein bars, bone broth. Like I have a lot of that in my diet. And then, one of the things that after having Michelle, for instance, on the podcast, I realized I didn't have enough fiber in my diet. So trying to add a little bit more fiber. So during the day, like my lunch meal, that's when I'll have some of my my grains, like rice. I'll even have like maybe half a piece of toast or something, but it's really watching the amounts. Like if I get really hungry at night, I'll eat some fruit. But if I'm going to eat like blueberries, I'm going to measure it out to just a quarter cup of blueberries. I'm not going to like sit there and eat the entire carton of blueberries like I normally would. So it's really just kind of watching the amount of food that I'm eating. And I've tried to stop eating basically like any pastries, which is really hard for me. I love croissants, like a really good flaky buttery croissant. So good. But I've also really taken a step back and thought about things like, do I want to waste my calories on something that's not going to be that delicious? Like if I'm going to have a glass of wine, which basically I don't drink whatsoever. So that's been a big part of my diet, is like, you will rarely see me drink. I'll have like a glass of wine once a month. And then I've really cut out sugar, like the artificial sugars. So like any candy, which I love, I've cut that out. I'm trying to lower my sodium intake. And it's not because it's bad for me, but because of like the vanity reasons, right? Like it makes you bloated, it makes you retain water. So I'm trying not to eat as many pickles, which is crazy because you guys, if you follow me, I like eat everything pickled. So
pickles, Susan?
Pickles, I know.
No
I still eat pickles. Don't get me wrong. I'm still eating pickles, just not as much as I used to, like every single night. But yeah, so it's really like making sure I have more fresh vegetables. I watch my fruit intake, but I still have fruit, and really having some good fibers. I don't have any starchy carbs at night unless I've like decided that this is the night I'm going to eat something that's a little bit more indulgent.
What was the phrase we learned yesterday? Planned
indulgences. Yes, and we learned from one of our guests that you should have planned indulgences, which is exactly what I've been doing, where like I know I'm going to go on a date in like another week or something, and we're going to go to a really nice restaurant I've been wanting to go to. So up until that date, I will be so strict on my diet, and then I will not care what I eat that night.
Which cosmetic procedures have you had performed that has shown the most results?
Okay, cosmetic procedures. First off, I have a YouTube video that recently went up where I talked about the procedures I've done more recently, just in general, and what I felt the results were. I really think that platelet-derived growth factors has been amazing. I've had it injected in my under eye area twice. I've had it injected once, like in this area, and it's kind of to help the smile lines, but it's really just like strengthening the skin in that area so that it just gives it more structure, so that your smile lines don't look so bad. It's like helping the skin as well. And then I recently got it injected in my neck area just to, again, strengthen that skin and build the collagen and elastin. I have yet to see the results. Like I still have like little tiny bumps right now from it. It looks like mosquito bumps that I'm massaging. But I will say in my under eye area, I did see a difference. It's not like a filler. It really is just like creating the structure. And one side effect that I saw that was a positive side effect is that my melasma also, because it was originally used to, like help with injury. And so now it's being used for these cosmetic reasons. I feel like it's also helped my melasma because it's not getting my skin inflamed. So that's been amazing. I did soft wave for a second time, and I actually think I'm seeing a huge difference in the way that it helps tighten my skin. So that one's a big one. I posted about this, and I saw so many people say that it was a painful experience for them. And what I would say to that is it was not painful for me, except for like in the forehead area where it's bony. And what I would say is your provider really matters when it comes to these treatments, all treatments, because there are right ways to do things and wrong ways to do things. And not everyone is equal in their expertise. And your provider should be managing the pain of any treatment. So if it feels like it's just overly painful, that might be a red flag with the provider that you're going to.
It's wild and fun to have seen you become famous. Do people recognize you everywhere?
You know what's funny is it kind of depends on the scenario. I've been dating this guy and we've gone on some trips together. It never fails when I'm with him. It doesn't matter what country we're in. Like we've been into Morocco, we've been to Paris, we've been to like Cancun, like we've been to all these different cities. It never fails. Somebody comes up to me and says that they like know me, they're a fan, whatever, they want to take a picture. It's so funny that it happens while I'm with him because it just makes me seem like a bigger deal. But when I'm with other friends, nobody says anything to me. So it's almost like scenario dependent. Obviously, if I'm like in a beauty situation, a lot more people will know who I am. But you just never know. And sometimes I think people don't say that they know who I am. But I get all the time, like, you're the NATURIUM girl. And I love that. I'd rather be known as the NATURIUM girl and not known as like a famous person, because that's just weird to me.
Speaking of dating, how's dating like in your 40s versus 20s?
I'd say dating in my 40s is so much better because I'm confident. I have more money. I know the things that I like and the things I don't like. I don't know. It's a lot better. And I'll tell you that I at first was like, okay, in my 40s, have I like aged out? Like, are guys going to be not as interested? And no, it's the opposite. Like the younger guys like you, the older guys like you, the guys your age like you. You actually have a wide range. And I think as long as you're taking care of yourself and you're confident and I don't know, you just feel good, there's like this aura that you put out, then dating's fine. It's been so much fun.
How to get over a hot, multiple T's, guy that didn't want to be in a relationship?
I would just think that if a guy doesn't want to be with you, there's something wrong with him. Like, what's wrong with him? And
Agreed.
Good riddance, right? Like, if he doesn't want to be with you, good riddance that you figured that out so quickly and you're going to get over it, because there are always hotter guys, period. I feel like every boyfriend I've ever had just got better and better. So don't worry about it. And maybe just hook up a little bit. You know, slut it out.
Wait, this is funny.
What? She's laughing at this question.
Because it's about me.
Oh, it's about you.
Yeah. The biggest fight you and Anna had, like not talking for days fight. I don't think we've ever not talked for days even hours.
Yeah, no, Anna and I, well, first off, I think my personality, which was something that Anna learned kind of quickly, is that I'm not a grudge. I don't hold grudges. I've never been that kind of a person, would you say? Like, I don't hold grudges. I get mad and I tell you I'm mad, we handle it, and then it's done. Like, I'm not like trying to make you feel weird tomorrow. Right?
Whereas I'll remember forever.
She'll never forget it.
I'm still haunted.
In the early days of working with Anna, I was probably more intense about work and the way that we did things. And I noticed everything. Like, every detail matters to me. And so I think that like freaked her out one time. You want to tell the story about?
Oh yeah. This is my favorite story about Susan.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Hawaii and I was like, this is
we got to give context.
Okay.
This is back in the early days of Instagram when it was more photos than anything. If you lived in California, you posted photos of palm trees all the time.
Very
right?
California pictures.
Very California. So, and Anna was at the time hired to be our social media manager.
Yes. Okay. So I was like having to post like 2 or 3 times a day. It was very stressful trying to come up with posts. And I was home in Hawaii. I think it was over Christmas or something. And I was at the beach and I was like, oh, pretty palm trees, click. And I posted it. And then Susan texted me like within seconds. And she's like, those aren't California palm trees. And I don't think I had ever for once even thought about the difference between California versus Hawaii palm trees.
Not the right vibe. Not the
that
aesthetic.
Mattered.
It did matter on our very LA Instagram account at the time.
So that's just a taste of what I went through.
That was early days. I actually found it funny later on as the team started growing. This is the mixed makeup team, not NATURIUM. As the team started growing, we had other people running social media. And at that point, like we were going and I was just like too busy also. And so she would start to get upset with me that I wasn't, it's like a child, right? Like your children, your oldest daughter, she would get upset because I wouldn't be as intense on other employees that were newer to the team. She had to go through almost like hell with me, like boot camp hell, where I like made sure she was amazing at everything. Like every detail had to be perfect. And then I loosened up a little bit over the years. And so the new employees that would come in, I'd be like, you know what? Next time don't do this. Or I'd just be like so much more chill about the way I would explain things for work. And she'd come out to me later and she'd be like, you would have been like yelled at me for that.
I never would have heard the end of it. You say you don't hold a grudge.
Yeah.
But you really harp on stuff.
Oh, well, I'll remind you that one time that you did something.
not even that. You'll just like keep going. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And then you keep going, okay, I got it. I understand.
But did you get it?
And then you keep going.
But did you get it? But did you?
But I don't think we've never had a
real fight. And that was years ago. Like now I depend on Anna to do everything. So I just like can't even imagine being like why did you do that?
We're codependent.
Now we're codependent. Yeah, this was like 10 years, more than 10 years ago, what we're talking about. Now I trust her with everything because I trained her well. And no fighting. There's no fighting. Yeah.
Update on dating life.
Update on dating life. I have been dating the same guy for a few months, which is fun.
Ooh.
I didn't think I'd be in a relationship so soon, but I met somebody in like November and it's been going. It's fun.
You know what, Susan?
Huh.
How are you doing?
Oh, how am I doing? Jeez. Do I ever stop to think about that? I am very happy. I have to tell you that. I'm really, really happy. I feel like I'm at peace. I get to make decisions that are just decisions that I'm making on my own. I don't have to think about other people besides my children. And I just really love the things that I do. My work is amazing. I feel really blessed in that. I don't know. I'm having a really good time. What would you say as someone who's known me for so long?
Well, I keep saying this, so I feel like a broken record, but I've known you since 2011, and this is the happiest I've ever seen you.
There we go. So I'm doing pretty well.
Have you and your ex-husband talked about when you'll introduce your kids to someone?
No, we haven't. I'm not ready to introduce my kids to anybody. I don't think he's ready to introduce our kids to anybody. I think we would run it by each other. I guess you just never know what the situation might be. But, in Florida, they make you, when you get a divorce and you have kids, they actually make you take a course on ways to navigate co-parenting and your children when you're going through a divorce, which I thought was really interesting and very helpful. It actually said something in that course that said, you shouldn't, like it's been proven or something, that you shouldn't introduce your children to a new partner, like a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, for at least a year after the divorce. So I feel like both of us are going to probably stick to that. We're not a full year out. So, and I think watching how your children are handling the divorce is really important too. So I've brought up the idea of like introducing boyfriends and girlfriends to our kids. And my son was just not having it. Like, I was like, what if mommy has a boyfriend? Would you want to meet him? And he's like, no. And I was like, what if somebody's making mommy happy? He's like, I don't want him in my house. I was like, okay, fair. I told Isla about it. And she was like, if he's not nice though, we'll have to get rid of him. And I was like, that's totally true. But as far as introducing anytime soon, I'm not planning on it. And I can't speak for my ex.
How have you found dating again after the divorce? Easy, difficult? I hope it goes well.
It's been fairly easy. I think there's an energy that you put out. And I was kind of noticing this. As soon as I became single, I feel like my energy was suddenly I'm like putting out something where it tells guys that I'm like available. I don't know how to explain it. It's not that I'm like, I maybe like, and I think you guys can see it because I see comments like, oh, you're looking so good. Like you're doing all these things and stuff. I think I just started becoming more aware of myself and taking better care of myself. I started dressing a little bit differently. And I really do think there's this like energy that you put out there when you're really single. And it's funny because Anna and I we were at a restaurant yesterday. The same thing happens. Like, I think you get into a relationship and you immediately shut down that energy of being available. And so she pointed out to me that like I was leaving the restaurant.
I don't think everyone else got the memo.
Oh, but there is something that happens. So like we were walking out of the restaurant and she was walking behind me and she said that like the guys in the restaurant were like taking a look and my energy was like I didn't notice any of the guys and walked right out that restaurant. And
Susan was turning heads. It was very interesting to watch this happen.
Yeah.
Even guys that were on dates, they were all like,
that's sad.
Oh,
that's sad. It was a nice, beautiful Miami day. We were at a restaurant that was outside,
we had some good meatballs.
There's some good meatballs. I think the energy was good, like that kind of thing. Anyway, but yeah, so I think there's something about when you become single and you're open to dating, I really do think women put out an energy. So when I was like truly single, because I'm dating somebody right now, that's so funny to say. I'm dating somebody. But because I'm dating somebody, I think I've like closed that energy back down. Or like back up. But when I was first single, that energy was radiating. Like it was really easy to date because I was just like, come on in, that kind of thing.
The water's warm.
The water's warm.
Is that the right phrase?
I don't know, but it's hilarious.
Beef tallow.
No.
What's the deal with that stuff? Sounds gross.
Beef tallow is disgusting. Beef tallow is beef fat. Like it's fat from, first off, there was this trend of like everything needed to be vegan in cosmetics. And suddenly it's like out the door because people that are into the natural world want to use beef fat. Obviously it's going to be an occlusive. It's going to work. It's a grease. It's an oil. So it's going to, oil your face up a little bit, and you might see a change if you do nothing to your skin. But do you need to put beef tallow on your face? No, I don't know why you would do that. And it can absolutely clog your pores. Yeah.
Can we achieve your gorgeous skin without treatments?
Yes. I think that my skin is primarily due to the fact that I have stuck with a consistent skincare routine for years and years and years. And you guys can confirm this because you've been following me on my skincare journey for years, right? The most important thing is to wash your face properly, make sure it's not irritated and stripped, and make sure you're hydrating and moisturizing. Hydration, especially like your toners and essences and hydrating serums, are really underrated, but hydrating, plumping the skin, using your retinoids, and of course, always using your sunscreen every single day. I wear sunscreen every single day. And it's not because every single day I need to, because sometimes there are days where the UV is not very high, but it's still part of my routine every single morning, just like brushing my teeth, which means I never forget to wear sunscreen. So I think that's the most important part. You can't have plump, smooth skin without a proper skincare routine. That's just fact. It doesn't matter how many treatments you're getting done or whatever. You can have gross, crusty, flaky skin with clogged pores and still be getting Botox and all that kind of stuff. And it's just never going to fix your skin. Obviously, cosmetic treatments help, but it's not the main thing. You need it all goes hand in hand.
I actually feel like we get this next question on any video where you mention this.
Okay.
So what creatine product do you use?
My creatine product, because I love creatine and I think that everybody should be on creatine. I've been using the Momentous one the most, but I recently got the Mind Body Green version from Ashley, who was one of our guests. She's a behavioral therapist and she's so beautifully fit. Like she is so fit and has the most amazing body. She works with Mind Body Green and she recommended this one because it has amino acids in it as well. And amino acids are really great for people that want muscle recovery and just want to feel better. So this creatine is not just the creatine, but it also gives you the amino acids. So I just feel like if you can get more benefit from something that you're taking than just one benefit, then you might as well do it. But creatine, you guys, if you haven't started taking it, take it 5 grams a day. It's good for your brain, for cognitive function, and also for your muscles.
In college, as a 40-year-old mom of 2 young kids, and I'm drowning, how did you build your support system?
Ooh, okay. So that was actually one of the reasons why I moved to Miami, was I felt like I had really good mom friends in Los Angeles, but in Los Angeles, it's a different vibe because if you don't live right next door to each other or on the same block or something, it's really hard to coordinate with people to just get together with your kids because everyone's just so scheduled and busy and everything. So moving to Miami has been amazing because one of my dreams was finding other moms, especially and parents with kids the same age that maybe go to the same school as our kids, that we could just do anything together. I could show up with my kids in the afternoon and we just decide to have a casual dinner together where we order Postmates or something. On the weekends, our kids can like just swim together while me and the moms are, just hanging out and talking about nothing. I can show up in my sweats and not worry about it and not have to shower and look good and stuff. So I don't know. I think that, this for me started with school, like my kids' school friends and then their parents, but there have just been some moms that I've just really clicked with. And I feel like nurturing those relationships is really important. So just really making that time to become friends. So like going sometimes to like school functions, for instance, as much as I don't like it, I'm not a school functions person. I still would do it. And then coordinating with the other moms, especially if I liked a mom, I would just I would immediately say like, hey, should we do a play date together? And I think that's like one of the best ways to make mom friends.
I need to take that advice.
Yeah, it's important. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why I'm so happy right now is because I have such a solid mom group right now.
You really do.
I really do.
Cool how all your mom friends really show up for you and you've only been here 3 years.
They're amazing. Great mom friends here.
Would you ever consider getting married again?
Would I ever consider getting married again? Okay, you know what? Even just like a few months ago, I would have said absolutely, absolutely not. Never again. Why would I ever get married? And I did always keep in the back of my mind a girlfriend of mine who got divorced when I was we were in our 20s when she got divorced. And she was swearing up and down that she would never, ever get married again. And then she reunited with like her high school sweetheart. And they, of course, got married again. And she even had a kid with him. And I always kind of thought about that, like how interesting it is. So I think that I'm open to marriage for the right person, especially if that person has never been married before.
Current foundation concealer powder.
Okay, current foundation concealer powder. Those are good questions. Okay, my concealer right now lately has been the one from Hourglass. I love it. It is so good. The foundation I've been obsessed with is by Lisa Eldridge. So good. My makeup artist in London, Nicolette, introduced me to that one, and I've been like bringing it everywhere. Am I wearing it today?
Yes.
I'm wearing it right now, Chanel says, because I raved about it. So Chanel was like, we need to try it. I need to try it. Did you like it, Chanel?
I do. It has like a very skin-like, it's almost like a soft matte satin matte finish.
She says it's like a soft satin matte finish.
Luminous but still matte.
Yeah, luminous but still matte. That's exactly luminous silk from Armani, but like maybe like more coverage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we like about it. And then what was the other one? Powder. You know what? My go-to powder for a long time has been the one from Huda Beauty. It's just really, really good. It doesn't like sink into all my creases as much as other powders. I did get the Prism Libre Compact, like the pressed powder recently, the new one from Givenchy. And I have really liked it. I wish they would have made it a loose powder like the original, but was the original loose? It was, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They took the talc out, so they were bringing that compact back to try to give something matte back to people.
Yeah, so it is matte. I think it's pretty good, and I've been using that too, but the Huda Beauty one is always my go-to. Last of the questions? Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of answering questions, I actually asked people on Instagram to tell me their most romantic stories. And so I'm going to pick out a few and share them. Let's see. There's 120 comments. Woo. Jillian says, not made me pay rent. Great. Winning. After I told him I wanted to learn how to ride a horse, he booked me riding lessons for the following week. That is cute. After freshly filing for D, which is divorce, not the other thing that you're thinking, I got on the apps and started meeting folks. I met this really sweet guy. We had awesome conversations on the phone and on FaceTime before meeting in person. He came over and it was like linking up with a friend I hadn't seen in a long time. As a natural caretaker that spent years taking care of everything and everyone around me, this guy made a point to come with a bag of ingredients and do the taking care of me. He cooked in my kitchen and didn't even allow me to lift a finger or help in any way. We sat together, ate food, played card games, and got snowed in with an unexpected blizzard that forced him to sleep on my couch. Did he? He was so respectful. Nothing was expected or exchanged, just great food, games, and tons of laughs. He left. We continued talking via phone and remained friends for a bit and literally never talked or saw each other again. Hope he's doing well. Sometimes that's all you need, especially after a divorce. You just need that reminder that you can have a good time with some guys. For our first trip together, he asked me where I wanted to go. I told him I have always had this vision of retiring in Sarasota, Florida, but I've never been there. I love the show Cougar Town when I was 22, and that's where they lived, and it looked so nice. Or I've always wanted to go to Harry Potter World in Orlando. He took everything I said seriously and planned a trip to stay in both Sarasota and Orlando. He went to Harry Potter World, even though he had never read the books himself.
Aww.
Ava says, I was complaining to an ex that I was getting tired of having to drive over an hour to see him at school every weekend. So his dad probably, LOL, bought a truck to see me. That's cute. Oh, this one's the sweetest. I actually know this person, Anna Victoria, learned English to talk to me and moved countries to be with me. That is pretty romantic. Jane the chemist says, started wearing sunscreen. She tagged her boyfriend, Randall. That is the love language of a cosmetic chemist. A boyfriend bought me 30 gifts and wrapped them all separately for my 30th birthday. This is kind of cute. My B-Day is 12/31, right after Christmas, and typically I get combined gifts to celebrate both. He made a clear distinction to celebrate my birthday in a major way. It was the sweetest thing anyone had ever done for me. I married him. This one is kind of funny. Gave me his most seasoned Dorito.
Oh,
that's love.
Oh, that is love. That's the best one.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
It is the little details for you. Oh, here's a good one. Okay. It's an ex, but still. My ex, okay, I don't know if this is cute now that I'm reading it. She says, my ex wrote and produced a song for me, lyrics, recorded it in a professional studio, and sent it to me. Granted, he was cheating on me, but hey. Okay, this is for the book talk girlies. Okay. When I moved into his house, I never had a place for all my books. They were just in stacks. He built me a pink bookshelf and bought me every Outlander book and had them all on the bookshelf when I got home from work. I cried when I saw it. It was the nicest gift without asking for one or it being a holiday.
Aww.
It's those little gifts that happen outside of a holiday or a birthday. Those matter the most. All right, we're going to end it. Thank you guys for all the questions. We'll do another Ask Me Anything in a couple of months and say bye to Anna.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.